The moment was nothing short of historic. Under the glimmering chandeliers of the White House, the air was thick with emotion as President Trump awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the late Charlie Kirk. The nation watched as Erika Kirk, his wife, stepped up to the podium, her voice trembling yet filled with pride. This wasn't just a political event. It was a moment that spoke to the very heart of America's identity. Charlie Kirk, a man whose life was dedicated to defending freedom, faith, and truth, was being honored with the highest civilian award in the United States. But what made this moment so powerful wasn't just the medal. It was what it symbolized. It was a recognition that even in a deeply divided nation, conviction, courage, and faith still matter. Think about it. How many people today are willing to sacrifice comfort, popularity, or even relationships for their beliefs? Charlie did.
And today we're gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved, and I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man.
You could feel the raw honesty in her words. Charlie believed that freedom was the ability to do what is right without fear. She said, that line alone felt like a challenge, not only to the audience sitting before her, but to every American watching from home. How often do we claim to value freedom, yet fail to live it with the same courage? Erika's words reminded everyone that freedom is not simply a privilege, it's a responsibility. It demands something from us. It demands integrity, truth, and sacrifice. And through her tears, she showed that this message wasn't theoretical, it was personal. So, ask yourself this, when was the last time a public speech genuinely moves, one that didn't just inform but inspired? Erika Kirk's words did exactly that. They cut through the noise of political division and reminded us of something timeless, that legacies aren't built through fame or fortune, but through faith and conviction. And perhaps that's why her speech will be remembered, not just as a tribute to her husband, but as a call to every person who still believes in the power of courage, truth, and freedom.
But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself.
This wasn't simply a eulogy. It was a call to arms, an invitation for the next generation to rise up and protect the very principles Charlie fought for. Erika's words turned a ceremony of remembrance into a movement of revival. She reminded the audience that freedom isn't inherited automatically. It must be guarded, renewed, and lived out every single day. Her tone shifted from mourning to motivation, from reflection to rallying cry. And in doing so, she transformed grief into guidance, turning a personal loss into a public mission. So let's think about this for a moment. How often do we see someone's legacy truly ignite others into action? How often do we see a tragedy transformed into a movement that inspires millions? That's exactly what Erika Kirk accomplished that day. Her words breathed new life into Charlie's message, turning loss into leadership and transforming remembrance into a challenge.
Because he wasn't a materialistic man, so that also did not help. But now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have. It's such an honor and the recognition of a life lived for defending freedom. And that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. And it was written across his chest in those final moments on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message, and this one bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country, and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation. My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say.